Eine wunderschönen guten Morgen. Le Mans Ultimate had its latest update, and in this video I'm going to give you a honest perspective of the changes to the Hypercars tyre model from the perspective of a jaded, miserable sim racer that drinks too much tea. Is it game changing? Is it game changing for the good or for the bad? And what should you expect from LMU at this point in time? Well, let's just dive straight into it. Subscribe to unsubscribe at a later date, click the like button and cry yourself to sleep. First of all, the good news, I think the Hypercars actually drive more realistically than they used to. How can I know that if I've never driven one in real life? Well, the Hypercars previously would kind of want to be slid around a lot, especially on tracks like Interlagos or Fuji. You really would be hovercrafting them around the corners, which is quite fun, but definitely really a bit over the top. Whereas now, you've got much more narrower, tighter slip behaviour, a lot more pokey, and I think that's just how these cars would actually handle. Why would they be sliding all over the place? It just wouldn't make any sense. When they're in the warm tyre state, optimal conditions, they're now much more pokey. I think that's great. There's still a little bit of controllable slip to them, especially at moderate speed. With the downforce, you can nose the cars into the corner nicely on the brake, rotate it. They're quite stiff to rotate into corners, and that gets worse and worse as you slow down. But, you know, you can turn them in on the brake, you can get the nice lift-off oversteer, especially at speed, and you can also induce oversteer on the throttle. There's a good range of control to those basic vehicular dynamics in a tighter envelope now. I think most people will generally enjoy that. The downside of that, or a difference at least, is that it's easier to accidentally push the tyres over now, especially if you turn too hard and just lose the rear, so it's a lot less forgiving or a lot less warning before it goes over the limit, and a lot less of an angle that you can get away with that you can actually catch. So that could throw a lot of people off, but on the grand scheme of things, these cars are way easier to drive than the Hypercars in iRacing, for example, and actually do allow you to push onto the tyres more. Like, you can induce oversteer, you can lock up a bit, you can lean on the tyres quite aggressively, even get in understeer, and the tyres will come back and grip as soon as you alleviate them from the condition that's putting the load on them. Unlike iRacing, where even with the new GT3 and new tyres, if you heat the tyres up, it takes 1 second or so for the grip to come back at all. It's like they literally just turn off still in iRacing. Ignore what people say that are regurgitating marketing. You can actually test iRacing on a centripetal track or on any circuit. You'll see it still has the fundamental tyre model issues. And driving in LMU, you don't have to experience that. So that's absolutely fantastic. Makes it a lot more fun to drive and certainly a lot more realistic. Again, how could I know, having never driven these? It's almost as if things have general physics properties and glaring physics issues are quite noticeable. Now, a thing to say with the Hypercars, the cold tyres are absolutely insane. They've gone from pretty bad in the previous versions to warm up. Well, not the time to warm up, but like when they're cold, it literally is like driving on snow. I'm talking 40, 50 mile an hour through some corners with the cold tyres, and it's literally snow. So I think that's something maybe they're going to address, because to me that seems totally mental. But who knows? Maybe cold tyres are that bad. It doesn't matter, because most of the time you warm your tyres up, and you just have to be super careful when they're cold and treat it. That's just how it is. That's how you have to play the game. Now, so for the most part, really positive stuff. I think very similar to the changes they made with the GT3 cars, but not as crazy as the initial changes they made to the GT3 cars. It's more in line with that change to the GT3 after the crazy change, if that makes sense. Now, on the negative side, though, there definitely seems to be some absolutely insane stuff with low speed handling with these cars, and also the susceptibility for them to just insta-spin. Again, low speed, if you clip a curbing a certain way. I'm sure these cars have very tight suspension, and you have to be careful of sausages, and at low speed you probably do have to be careful with them, but we're talking, the physics just turn off at low speed from very slight input. And you can avoid that, obviously, just memorise what you can and can't do, which is an incredibly dull way to play a driving sim. But you can do that and you can avoid it, or you can just drive the circuits that are very flowing and high-speed circuits, where that's not going to be an issue. But you really shouldn't have to. And then in addition to that, unfortunately, the force feedback in this title is still absolutely atrocious. Don't get me wrong, really good detail for vibrations, really good detail for when you're at high speed and the understeer and the load changing at high speed, but for the actual information that's of value for balancing the slip, holding slip, or being precise with the vehicle, and for avoiding slipping too much on the colder tyres, weird tyres, rain, or lower speed corners, the force feedback is utterly garbage. Also, for knowing when the wheels are going to lock up or not, and feeling the load that you're applying to the tyre. It's so bad, it's insane. It's slightly better than ACC for the most part in the force feedback, but I think it's actually most of the physics are much better than ACC. The force feedback's pretty on par as being terrible as ACC. Yeah, useless. Now you can use an app called LMU FFB. We tested it. We went through all the settings. That's quite nice for giving some additional features and feel for oversteering things. But ultimately, after going through a whole bunch of settings with that app, though I think it's great to have as an app, and that's obviously in beta, it's in development, so it'll probably change. I could not get that app to give me any more real granular, pertinent, useful information from the simulator to really help me drive better. You can get information that's over the top self-aligning, seat of the pants effect, and other vibrations, and you can hide some of the flat spotting bump stuff a bit, but fundamentally you're actually just better off with the basic in-game force feedback, as ultimately the core of that force feedback app is still giving you similar stuff anyway, and introduces some additional things that are not that desirable, some vibrations, bit of a dead zone in the center. It actually magnifies some of the stuff that's already in the game, but the game has dampening on it that then hides them. So yeah, you're better off without it, really, I'd say. Or I guess you could use the app and then blend it with the game force feedback, but it's a lot to fiddle with. You can spend a lot of time with that, and to be honest, I just think it's one of those things where really you're better off just grinding the game, memorising what you can and can't do, and driving the simulator like you have to drive ACC and iRacing, mostly robotically, not really feeling it out. That's just unfortunate. Esports drivers probably don't care. People doing the racing and doing it purely for the racing probably don't care. Once you're already like really close to the sort of optimal lap time, you're just refining things, so you probably don't care so much about those details unless it rains or you're really pushing it. A lot of people don't care. I really care. I think it's absolutely garbage and ruins the game. It's why I don't play it particularly. But for a lot of people, they don't care. So I'll just stick with the default force feedback, but be aware, there's nothing you can do, guys. Played this on like 5 different DD wheels now, messed around with it. Doesn't matter what car. There's the lateral load for the force feedback that describes the tyre is absolutely effing terrible. Load up AC1, AMS1, Live for Speed, Richard Burns Rally, and you will understand what's missing if you've got brain cells. So that said, was that a bit too aggressive and a bit too direct? Probably, but it's the truth, so deal with it if I've upset you guys. That said, you can still have absolutely fantastic races in this. Graphics, I think, are really great. Looks really nice. Car model's really nice. I like the sound of the cars, the race format, the structure, the default car setups, the netcode. It's a really good overall simulator if you want to jump in and do the endurance racing thing. That's what it says on the tin. And outside of the force feedback, that is what it really offers. So well done, LMU developers. Keep up the absolutely fantastic work. But, dear God, please sort the force feedback out so you can actually drive and feel what the cars are doing and enjoy properly your £1,000 or even £300 DD wheel. Like, playing this on a low-end wheel will be terrible. It's R Factor 2 has this exact same problems. Very noisy suspension, great bump and track texture detail, but it literally broke G25s back in the day. Anyway, less ranting about that, guys. Force feedback is such a crucial part for actually feeling what's going on and, you know, really, really getting into it. For me, at least. I know a lot of people just don't care. Not much more to say. Obviously, most of the changes in this are just pure underlying polish, structural things. But I think you will have a good time. If you buy this game, unless you're like super jaded and really do care about force feedback detail, you'll have an absolutely fantastic time with this. And that's for the price that it's sold at. That's all you can really ask for, really. There you go. So, good update. Still needs changes and tweaks and improvements. I'm sure they'll be getting on it. The stuff I said about the cold tyre and the low speed rotation, it's the kind of thing I think that they will address. Be aware that if you've got old setups, they're not really going to work very well with the new cars, or stuff that's been changed, should I say, with the hypercars. And there you go. Right, hope you enjoyed this rundown. Look forward to seeing you in races. We'll be doing more Assetto Corsa with its glorious force feedback in VR. This has VR as well. Haven't tested it properly yet, but that's another good thing with LMU. The graphics are not all blurry. We'll do an LMU VR stream, but yeah, we'll see you in our next AC live stream very soon. So follow us on Twitch if you haven't, and you'll catch us when we're live. You can join in with us and experience the glory of that. But until the next one, thanks for watching, happy tea drinking, take care, and goodbye.